let's get a quick take on the announcement this week that political journalist and friend of this table, Lynn Bartels, will be leaving the Denver Post at the end of July. Bartels will become the communications director for the recently elected Secretary of State, Wayne Williams. Pat Cahoon from Westward, me personally, this hit me between the eyes. I was hoping it was some sort of sick Twitter joke, but it wasn't. She's actually moving on after being one of the stellar political journalists in Colorado for over 20 years. What do you think?
And 35-year journalism career. Lynn is great. I'm going to miss reading her every morning, and you would read her every morning because she worked so hard. She will work hard at the Secretary of State's office. That is definitely all of Colorado's gain, because she'll be communicating not just with the 2 journalists left in Colorado, but she will be communicating, I think, with the public. So that'll be good. But we'll certainly miss her around this table, too.
I could not agree with that more. David Copeland from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. What is all of Colorado's loss is Wayne Williams and his staff's gain. I got to tell you, he's was a fine guy to meet with during the Secretary of State debates, but probably bottom of my pool of offices that I thought Lynn might be getting to if she ever got out of the Denver Post. What did you think of the appointment?
Well, when the place you're working at and you like, the Rocky Mountain News, goes under, she was able to go to the Post, and it's not under, but it sure ain't rising either. I'm sure she's very happy ultimately with how the elections turned out, that Scott Gessler didn't run for re-election, because I think she'll have an easier time as a public information officer. I also suspect that besides being just purely the spokesperson to the public, that by her temperament and personality, she will be influential behind the scenes. So she will be telling Secretary Williams, you can't do that. Do you know how stupid that idea is? And she'll be very blunt about it in private, and whatever the Secretary decides, she'll explain well to the public. But I think she'll be a good advisor, besides being a good spokesperson. I
agree. Penn Tate, attorney at Greenberg Traurig, also a longtime state lawmaker. Besides the shock from it, what do you think of the appointment, and how do you think it will be as Lynn Bartels' communications director? That's not something that really easily rolls off the tongue, at least for myself. What do you think?
Well, in many ways, she was the communications director for the Denver Post on political issues.
That's true.
The shock value hasn't hit me so hard because I had a chance to see Lynn a couple days before the announcement, and she said she was contemplating the retirement. So when I actually saw it put out there, I wasn't that stunned. It's really the end of an era in terms of the type of political reporting we've seen in Colorado, particularly at the State House. But, congratulations to her. Congratulations to Wayne Williams. This is a huge get and pickup for him. And David is absolutely right. What she brings to the table is an institutional memory about state government that most people in state government just don't have now. So she'll be able to tell the Secretary of State very bluntly, this is a dumb idea, and here's why, and if you go do the research, you'll see why it didn't make sense before. And I think that only works to the benefit of Colorado and her citizens. I think she'll just be able to temper some of the discourse in state government, hopefully. But I wish her well, and congratulations. We'll miss being able to serve with her on panels here, though.
Absolutely. And Ben Gelt, rounding out the panel, a public affairs consultant. I think Ben hit a very good point there about institutional memory, especially in the era of term limits, whether you like them or don't like them. There are a lot of new faces in the State House on a routine basis. There are new faces we'll be talking about later at the City Council level. Having people with that kind of institutional memory is not common. Do you think that will be a particular loss when we get around to covering next year's legislature?
I think there's no question, and I think, as you certainly can no doubt deny that the Secretary of State has a huge gain, I think that overall the state of Colorado is seeing a loss, even though she's now going to be serving the public directly, because of that loss of institutional memory, because of the loss of another strong writer who's representing the press and not a particular point of view. And I think it really begs the question of, where are we going to go moving forward for meaningful local news on a daily basis? I think clearly newspapers aren't dead yet, but they're quickly dying, and it's a sad thing. There are other models out there. I mean, certainly this station is an example, and NPR and CPR are other examples. And, I'm personally hopeful that the newspaper model can really change as we continue to see this exodus of talent and institutional memory. We need the change because the public overall needs to be served by a private entity and not being told directly by government agencies what's what, because there's always bias involved in that. So it's a tremendous loss, I think, for the people of Colorado. And while it's a nice gain for the Secretary of State, I think it's an overall negative or deficit.
Big shoes to fill.